is in. I repeat, McGlynn is in. Let the fun begin. This is the Commissioner Evaluation Podcast with your host, John McGlynn.
Was that Herms?
He got them guests on the Rolodex, stopping by to talk about some Dynasty Superflex. Everybody, yo, commish is in. It's time to sit down to listen to John McGlynn. Yo, who we trading, who we fading, who we getting off the squad. Knowledge never overrated, playing for number one. Hey, yo, McGlynn is in. It's time to let the fun begin. It's the Commissioner Evaluation Podcast with John McGlynn.
Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. That was Herms NFL made my introduction song. I've been waiting for an intro for a long time. If you need anybody to do an intro for you, at Herms NFL. Guy's awesome. His work's awesome. Hopefully the song, I love the song. Hope you guys liked it too, but it'll be the regular now for the show until, forever. So welcome to Commissioner Evaluation Show. Tonight's show should be fabulous as usual as we skim through Week 15 waivers, injuries, news, rumors, as well as some Mighty McGlynn Dynasty League trades. And then we'll do a team evaluation with McNutted Iowa Mike and Adam of 4DChess. So I usually start the show off talking about my personal life for real fast. Work 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Wednesday night through Sunday morning. So I got to listen to the Rams game at work and then see the highlights later. I needed one more yard to get Josh Jacobs' 100-yard bonus, which didn't happen because they decided to put him at fullback and do some kind of trick-ass play that didn't work. Saturday afternoon, I got up to pee. I made the mistake of retweeting a Chicago sports tweet that asked about Justin Fields' future, saying that the Bears should probably trade away Justin Fields for multiple picks and start the whole rebuild from scratch for a new quarterback. I'm still getting MF by Super Bowl Bears Twitter, so thank goodness I was sleeping and didn't have to rebuttal all those comments. And then went out to a bar called Anthony's in Joliet with all three players in my division of one of my home leagues Sunday, and there was a ton at stake. I was playing Nick's script. If I win the division. I get 4% of the pot for winning my division. I kick Nick out of the playoffs and then get my neighbor Joe Castleman, who's an inferior opponent as far as that's concerned, in the playoffs. Enter Evan Ingram to mess up everything. I lost by 20-something because Evan Ingram scored 773,000 points in that game. So that's how it went so far. Now I'm in the playoffs in every fantasy football league that I'm in, every dynasty league I'm in. So I got pretty lucky. Even the one that I didn't expect to get in, I won by like 2.7 points because I had Hunter Henry last night score 11 instead of like 9.7. So I was like, yes. And then I instantaneously traded him away. So it was fun. But we got some guests here today. So they're going to tell them about themselves, where the Twitter machine can find each of them, and what they do in the fantasy community. Mike, why don't you tell everybody about yourself?
Oh, what's up, man? And that intro was fire. That intro was fire. I'm out here making intros for Adam and I, and having to rip stuff off of other sound bites and sound clips, and you got something custom made, man, with your name in it. I'm super jealous. That was dope. But I'm happy to be on. If you want to find me, you can find me on Twitter at Iowa Michael. I don't know why anybody follows me. I post nothing but nonsense junk. But as far as content goes, we do a podcast every Friday on Destination Devies Radio Network, the 4DChess Dynasty Football Podcast, and then Adam and I, we got our Patreon. So patreon.com/South Harmon. We got, 115 shitheads, as we like to call them, part of South Harmon. They're in there. They're going. And then our YouTube page, South Harmon Fantasy Football. We're doing stuff, AMAs on Tuesday nights. We got Trade Show comes out on Saturday. We're always staying busy, man. We stay with the content and just love talking about Dynasty football. So
I love it. I love your guys' show. It's one of my favorite shows. First of all, the name's awesome because I play chess with my kids all the time. And I'm like, oh, cool, I'll check out this chess thing. And not knowing, first of all, Adam, your voice is a phenomenal. I put out a Twitter poll a while ago saying, like, who's got the sweetest voice on the internet, And I'm like, it's super awesome. What you guys know and the things you talk about, the show is just absolutely awesome. So I just want to say, that's, first of all, that's awesome. But having you guys on is an absolute treat to me. Adam, why don't you go ahead and tell me about yourself?
Yeah, man, absolutely. Well, I appreciate the. I saw that tweet and I was like, man, I can't believe I'm out here, but rightfully so. good voice, I guess, for some, but it didn't win the Twitter poll. So was second or third, whatever it was. But I appreciate that. We love 4DChess, Mike and I doing that show. You can find me on Twitter. It's at ATM, my initials, 4DChess. You can find me there on Twitter. Like Mike said, we have our Patreon. We do the 4DChess Dynasty podcast on Fridays. And then on our YouTube channel, we do a trade show every week, which we're getting ready to do later tonight. We do an AMA, Ask Us Anything, just kind of a chance to come spitball with people and talk about all the places we messed up or did well in Dynasty. So, just honestly stuff like this. John, thanks for having us on, and just, chopping it up with people in the industry and just talking Dynasty. This is just who Mike and I are, man. We just like to talk Dynasty and figure out strategies if we can help. And sometimes we overthink things and get in our own way, but it's fun nonetheless.
I just traded for Eno Benjamin about 7 hours ago. I was at a doctor's office all day long with my kids. I'm like, man, you know what? I'm gonna make a trade for Eno real quick for like it was a late third. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just make it happen. If something happens, if Pierce doesn't come back, and then I saw he got cut today. I'm like, this is stupid. When I don't do any kind of research and on like last minute kind of stuff. But I love Eno anyway. I don't mind having him on my team. I think he could fall somewhere else, end up somewhere else. But for the most part, if I had a tally of all the bad trades I made, it would be, first of all, as long as the Mississippi River, and the ink would still be fresh from the one I just made like 10 seconds ago. So it is what it is,
Absolutely, man. You win some, you lose some. Like Mike and I say, we're going to miss a lot of stuff. We're just trying to get right about 60% of the time or more.
Yeah, but unfortunately, that's the biggest thing is I need to stop, do some research, do this instead of just pressing a click on things I by my heart. It's almost like gambling. You just can't. As much as you want to bet on the Bulls versus something or the Bears versus something, you got to do the research. You just can't go in there and be like, man, I know this is going to happen. You got to look into stuff. You got to do your research, or you get in traps like this. So,
yeah.
Adam, tell me about the day in the life of yourself. What you do? What's going on like a normal day for you?
Well, yeah, let me say real quick before that, as a Browns fan, I've learned for a long time ago not to bet with your heart, because if I bet with the Browns against the spread, I don't even think I'd have enough money to have a camera to talk to you guys in, so it'd be rough. So don't bet with your heart, especially as being a Browns guy. Day in the life of myself, man, lately has been awesome. It's not been a lot of sleep. I have a 6-month-old baby girl, Aubrey, at home. Love having her. I work full-time, throughout the day at a company called Buckeye Business Products. I sell labels, very monotonous, nothing too thrilling about it other than going to work and coming home. And then when I'm home, for the most part lately, Mike and I have been doing content or jumping on, guesting on something like this, and then, doing video editing and all kinds of little stuff for content creation. So sleep's kind of been what's cut out right now with all the things I have going on. But that's kind of my life, man, being a dad, working, selling labels, and then basically everything else is going into, being married and dynasty football.
That's it. That's dynasty football. Unfortunately, it takes a lot more time than, like I was saying before the show, I got a 26-year-old, 21, 18, and 17-year-old. So my time for being dad and all the other stuff and coach and referee and you name it and chef and everything else is kind of gone to the wayside now. Now I can just kind of concentrate on fantasy football for the first time in my life, and I'm enjoying it. So Iowa, Mike, how about yourself? Tell me about day in the life of you.
I work full-time job. I'm a maintenance tech at a dairy here. Funny that we were talking about it the other day on Twitter, John, about that, but that's kind of how it came up. Outside of that, though, I mean, it's all family in Dynasty for me. So I got 3 girls, married. I deal with massive amounts of estrogen in my house on a daily basis, and this is why I'm gray. This is why I'm gray. Dynasty football and all the women in my life keep me looking this youthful.
There you go. That's what it's all. The question was something about 100% milk, and I'm like, why is it? I was looking at a carton of milk, and I said something like, when are we ever gonna get 100% milk? And they're like, 100% milk is butter. Like you can't eat it, or you die if. I think somebody said something like, you die if you ate it. You can't process it as a human being. So that's it. And then all this dairy farm stuff came up, and that's how you got. Eventually, that's how you guys got on the show. The stupid stuff about butter, So this is how it works in the day life of me. And thanks for showing up here. So, next question: when did you start playing fantasy football? Are you a redraft or a dynasty guy at this point in time? Obviously, from the 4DChess thing, probably you guys are mostly dynasty like myself. I think the Fishbowl and like one or two other charity leagues, John Paulson stuff, things like that, are my only redraft leagues. But Mike, how about you? What are you now? What's most of your leagues consist of?
Well, most of them are going to be dynasty leagues. This last year, I kind of started dabbling into C2C. Matt's in the chat, man. Matt Bruning got me into Campus to Canton League, so I started doing some of those. I have an IDP league that I dabbled in as well. I do still have a couple redraft leagues, one of them being my home league, which has been 20 years plus running. The league itself has been going on for 30 years, 35 years. So I used to help my stepdad when I was just a little tyke, help him run his team, and then eventually I got old enough to make my own decisions and be a part of that league. And, I got guys who are 50s, 60s, have been doing it forever, still a part of that league, still commission, still run it. So that's the longest running redraft. And then I took over my dad's league for him this year. He wanted to beat all the retirement community, so I said, you know what, I got you, Dad. I'll get you 1 year. I'll run the team this year. I'll get you the championship. Then I'm out. I don't like a lot of redraft. I mean, I do it because that's where I started. But Dynasty definitely is my biggest focus, my passion, my love.
If you mentioned Campus Canton, I see Matt on here too. Matt was on my show before, a friend of the show. Thanks for listening, Matt. I subscribe to Canton because of Matt, because he's one of the smartest people I know. Guy's an absolute stud across the board. Everything that he puts out, everything that he puts on the internet, I read it like the Bible. That guy, he is fantastic, man. The guy is great. If you would need someone to watch or follow, I got a bunch of people in the comments talking about how Herms had such a great intro and they were jamming to the beat. And then, Matt, thanks for chiming in again. But I would not be in Campus Canton and a subscriber if it wasn't for you, Matt. So thank you very much. So Adam, tell me about a day in the life of your. Next question. How long have you been playing fantasy football, Adam?
Yeah, so I've been playing. I've been playing since I was like a kid in junior high school, but those were, just like a couple buddies. No one knew what they were doing. Right after I stopped playing college basketball. I really got into like playing in a lot of leagues. I've had some leagues that have run for a long time. They were more like keeper leagues. I tried to transition it to Dynasty. Unfortunately, that one of my main leagues is actually still now a redraft league. But I'm definitely doing more Dynasty than anything. I've been playing fantasy football probably since like 2007, 8-ish, and really in a lot of leagues since about 2014. So Dynasty is definitely my preferred game here. I'll tell you this much, man. In all my redraft leagues this year, it was not a pretty sight. Sometimes I get that Dynasty mindset a little too much and draft a little more youthful when you don't. This is a sprint. It's no longer a marathon. And also, a lot of the leagues I'm doing now are best ball. I saw you had something in the comment or the question about best ball, and yeah, that's myself. I play mostly best ball at this point. I still have a lot of lineup leagues, but mostly best ball now. John, you got to mute, big dog.
Every league I'm in that's in best ball, I have this thing where I join this league and everybody starts talking, and after like week 3 or 4, nobody talks to each other anymore. It's just like they concentrate on the leagues, they have to set lineups in and things like that. It's always I don't like best ball, but I get it. When you're in, my neighbor was Mike Taglier before, and he was in like 260,000 best ball leagues. But the fact of the matter is that he did all these Garrett charity tests, charity things, charity leagues, and everything else like that. He could not physically do his primer, set lineups, all this stuff for that many leagues without. I mean, he had to join best ball, so it definitely has its place. But I try to keep all home leagues where I'm involved all the time, and it's setting lineups is part of the fun of just making fun of each other in home leagues. And the home leagues is busting balls. That's what it's all about. It's not like a regular internet thing, but so that's kind of where I'm at as far as that concerns. But yeah. I understand the horse race thing that's my kind of philosophy. It's a horse race. Matt Kelly had me on. I was talking about me on a show after the Scott Fishbowl draft. I ran the Scott Fishbowl drafts in Chicago, and Matt Kelly had me on. Looked at my team, and he's like, "Hey, this team's awesome. John McGlynn's got the Podfathers. Like his team's got Kelsey, Andrews in the first round. This guy, that guy, the other. And I'm in the same league as Justin over here. And my team just totally shit their bed after like week 7 or 8 when everybody started getting hurt. And then Andrews got hurt. Kelsey didn't do shit. And it's all it takes. This is one bad week when it's almost playoff time, and poof, you're gone. It's the same. I've been in redraft leagues where I was the high scorer after week 7, and I was 0-7. It's just you're the highest scorer in the whole league, and you went 0-7. You lost to the highest scorer. That's why a lot of leagues now put most points for in the playoffs. So, and I love that thing. That's what I do. But
yeah. Yeah,
It is
some
what
of
it
the
is.
leagues we have, we do versus the median too. So
Yep. Median's always great. I've been talking that up the last couple of weeks with John. I'm trying to get as many of my leagues to switch to the median scoring. It just seems like the leagues I've done it in, it works so much better. And you get those teams that are in the middle, that you have those down weeks, but when you get hot, you can get hot real quick and win a lot of games. I'm totally on the median scoring.
Yeah, my new league. I start a new dynasty home league every year. This is going to be year 7. So I'm Justin's going to be in this one. I was trying to recruit Adam. I mean Mike, but they're I'm going to join. This is the first year I'm going to have a median. I'm going to try and vote for a median in the other leagues to get put in. So it's grown on me for a while. I was never a fan of it, but now that I played in a couple leagues, I see why it needs to be employed. So it is what it is. What's your favorite Sunday afternoon food when you're glued to TV watching Red Zone? Adam, you first.
oh man, honestly, whatever you put in front of me is probably the answer. However, I'll go ahead and answer the question. For me, if I can get my hands on anything, it's going to be wings. Lately, I've been getting the stinging honey garlic wings from Winking Lizard down the street, man. Tremendous. So wings is definitely my premier choice when watching football.
Mike?
Man, I love me a Pancheros burrito, which is for you unaffiliated with the Midwest. That's basically Chipotle, but better, but a lot better.
I'm not a Tex-Mex guy at all. I don't like Chipotle. I'd rather get I'd definitely get a burrito or wings. Wings by us. Hooters is my favorite wings. It's by far the sauces are way better at like Buffalo Wild Wings, Buffalo Wings and Rings, but the wings, the meat itself is way better at Hooters. I think the quality of the product. So that's my choice if I ever had a choice. But all right, here's a question I'd like to ask people. Where do you see yourself in 5 years in the fantasy football community? Adam, you can start that one.
Oh man, that is an interesting one. It's hard for me to say. I'll tell you this much, man. This whole ride, Mike and I have been doing this since basically August of last year, and from where we're at August of 21 to where we're at now, it's so different and so much more than I thought it would be. So, like in 5 years from now, it's hard for me to really envision what that is because it's kind of such a whirlwind of fun and what's happening for us. But I will say, man, I definitely envision myself active, getting on as many shows as I can, guesting, growing, and hopefully building a really cool, dope fantasy community that we already have where it's growing. And, like we had the expo this last year and we got to meet a bunch of people that is in our fantasy community at the expo. So just kind of continuing that camaraderie and getting not just a community that you call a community, but people that actually really vibe with each other, have similar dynasty thoughts, having that whole, everybody in the same place and on the same wavelength. Honestly, that's one of the things that keeps me going is, not just my relationship with Mike, which has been incredible, but all the people along the way that I'm developing relationships with in fantasy. It's unlike anything I've ever seen before in my life, man.
It is awesome. I met Ray and a couple other people. I can't tell you. I met probably. This is my second year there. I was there for both of the actual expos, and I thought year 2 was kind of be boring a little bit, but it actually was better than the first one. So it's you meet more and more people. The hardest thing is I don't get to watch a lot of YouTube stuff, so it's all I hear is voices, and it's kind of like I'm blind and I have to walk through and kind of see. Oh, I know, I know you, I know you. That's the only reason I can kind of tell who's talking or what's going on. I don't know faces. So the more and more I get into YouTube, more and more I have guests I can kind of see, and I go, oh shit, it's Mike and Adam, or it's whoever, that. So it'll be easier the more time I have to watch some of the shows, the more guests I have on. But it was you. How about Mike? Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Man, Adam hit on a lot of it. It's been such a wild ride for us from starting a Patreon just because we were tired of texting each other and just doing a weekly podcast for an hour just to get all of our shit out and having like 10 people sign up who are just friends and family and big supporters to getting on and doing stuff on Destination Devi, getting to know Ray, Jay Rich, all those guys over there, and almost becoming like a family. Like when we got to meet up at the expo, it was incredible. Our relationship as a Destination Devi team has grown. And then Adam and I branching out and doing some of the stuff on our own, building our YouTube, all the things that we keep going with that. Adam learning how to video edit and being fantastic at it. Us doing multiple shows in a week. I really don't know where it'll be in 5 years. I'm just enjoying where I'm at now in the ride, and what comes. And I still want to keep chopping it up with all the smart people in the industry, making new friends. And the Fantasy Expo was an incredible experience for both Adam and I to be at, getting to meet some of the people who support us the most, getting to meet some of the other people in the industry and actually putting a face to them, getting to have a drink or two with them and just talk. It's amazing. So really hard to say where it'll be in 5 years, but I'm not really too worried about it. I'm just going to keep going day at a time and see where it takes me.
Last question. It's kind of a deep one, real quick. If you were running to yourself, if you had 2 minutes to talk to yourself on your 18-year-old senior year graduation day from high school, what would you say to yourself? Mike, you can go first.
Man, when you're a freshman in college next year, at that time for me it would have been, don't sell that Bitcoin that you have that you think is just dog shit. It's not ever going to be anything. Hold on to that with diamond hands, buddy. You'll thank me later.
Adam.
I love that, man. I guess I would say, like for me, right? Basketball was my dream, and obviously for a 6'4", white guy, that the basketball dream is only going to take you so far, right? And I would say that maybe not necessarily give up on all your dreams, or like basketball had to find an end, but for me, like find something you're passionate about in what you do and work, as far as when you're going to go forward in your adult life. I like selling labels. I don't really like doing. I do that because I bring in an income, and I think that especially when you're young, you kind of get told to go down a certain path because it's what makes sense. And I think that you kind of have to find a blend of what makes sense, what actually is going to help you, obviously make money and things like that, but also don't just do something you don't enjoy doing. You don't want to spend your entire life doing something you hate. If you can find a way to find a income where you're actually making money and you're also doing something that you love and you're passionate about, I think that's something I would tell myself as a young man.
Yeah, that's I was a semester. I got a full scholarship to college to play football, and I went there I went to Quincy College in Quincy, Illinois, and I went there and I started I played offensive line my entire life, never played a lick of defense. I went there and I started on defensive line in my freshman year, and I'm like, it just got boring. I had like a really bad GPA in high school and never got any offers anywhere. I was first team All Catholic League in Chicago at Butler Rice High School. I was pretty good, but again, I was only 6 foot tall, like 240 pounds coming out of high school. I had limitations how far I can go, and I just kind of figured all I need to do is go to school, go somewhere, and prove to myself I could do what I want to. And never playing defensive line, starting on D line as a freshman on the varsity team, I kind of like, I think I've proved everything to myself. I don't need to do this anymore. And plus, I like drinking and go out with my friends more than I did practicing every day. So, or going to school for sure. So I got into trades and I switched my career 3 or 4 times. And now I'm an operating engineer in Local 399 in Chicago. And I love it. I love going to work every day. It's pretty good, but this is my passion, fantasy football. I finally got the opportunity to start a podcast, talk to people like you. It's like being on a Titanic, man, with all these awesome people. Hopefully it doesn't sink, but we're good. Me and just being on here with Justin every week and guys like you, this is my passion. I'm just happy to do it. So
absolutely, man. Love to hear that.
So we got some commissioner questions every week. We kind of talked about commissioner stuff. Now that it's almost playoff time, how does your team determine your playoff teams? You guys are probably in a lot of the same leagues, so either one of you guys can go first. How do you determine who gets in the playoffs? We have divisions, which a lot of people hate divisions, but I have 4 division winners that go by record. And then after that, the 2 highest point scorer are the last 2 wild cards. And then we have a toilet bowl, which is a whole different story we'll talk about later. But who gets in the playoffs in your leagues?
Man, I commish all the leagues Adam and I are in together.
I was going to say, Mike kind of has the floor on the commissioner questions because I'm in the league, but Mike is the commissioner that runs all the tough stuff.
So much of our stuff has become best ball. One of the big things about best ball from last year to this year was every best ball league I set up now is median scoring. So like Tom alluded to, it is kind of like victory points, but you essentially play 2 games every week. You play against the opponent head-to-head, and then you play against the league average. So whatever the league average score. If you beat that league average score, you get a win. If you don't beat it, you take an L. But we just do it by record now. Points are the tiebreakers. Don't run any divisions. I absolutely fucking despise divisions. There's only a couple leagues where it's like necessary. We do that Royal Rumble League, which is 28-team 2-copy league on Destination Devi. You need fucking divisions for that, obviously, but most of our leagues are 12 teams because I can't stand 14-team leagues. I think people who play in 16-team Superflex leagues are insane. They should be committed. There's no place for that. But 12-team leagues, no divisions. Playoffs are just determined by best record, but it is with median scoring now. That's like my preferred way to do it. So the end of the year record is like 22-3 or something along those lines for the number one team.
You guys don't have anything like draft lotteries for your like losers bracket, stuff like that? We have it goes by max points for. I get a bingo ball set. Everybody meets up at the bar. We talk, and everybody celebrates who got the number one pick. You get 40 balls for whoever the least amount of max points for, which Tom was alluding to earlier. It's whoever gets the least amount of max points for. So you can't just hide players in your bench and start a shitty lineup. It makes your lineup the best it possibly can. Optimize your lineup every week. So whoever has the real shittiest team has the most chances to get 101. And it just goes in a bingo ball set, and everybody's just like a horse race. Come on, go, go, go. And if you traded away your pick, which happens almost, Steven Johnson was in our league. He traded away his pick 2 years in a row, and that pick got picked 101. I traded away my first pick last year for the 23 and 24 pick for Patrick Mahomes, and that turned into 101, which Breece Hall was taken. Obviously, I still think I won the shit out of that fucking trade. So, it is what it is. But it sucks. It just seems like whoever trades their shit away, it becomes the 101. That's just how it works. But so you do guys have like any kind of shit like that in the crazy stuff like that in your leagues, Mike? Like
we don't do lotteries. I mean, I get the lottery. Some of the leagues that I play in that I don't commish, there is lotteries, and I'm all for it. But our focus so much this year has been towards best ball. Every league that I've gotten Adam into, dragged him in, has been best ball. So at least on Sleeper, there's no way to hide or intentionally tank other than trade players off your damn roster. So if you want to be bad, get the points off your team. And that's something Adam and I have always kind of preached along our podcast lines. Like, if you're going to tank, at least tank right. Get the most amount of draft picks you can. Get the players off of your team and be bad. Be bad, get the 101. So it really I never seen a need to have like a lottery or anything like that in a best ball league. In a lineup league, though, I do think there is a pretty good place where you can have something fun like that. You can have a lottery. You can have a consolation bracket type tournament where you reward the guy who wins the consolation with the 101, something along those lines, because there is a lot of shady shit that goes on in lineup leagues with people leaving dudes on IR or on their taxi or just not starting a lineup, and then some guy you're battling with a playoff spot gets a free win that week. In best ball, you don't have to worry about any of that. So if they scored points, they're going in your lineup. So if you don't want them to score points and mess up your record, get them off your team. Trade them away.
Yeah, I actually just kind of I threw a guy in a league for not. He said last year he had a problem setting lineups. This year he got again problem his team got worse. He made some trades, and so I unfortunately had to boot somebody out of one of my other home leagues that just he saw the writing on the wall. His team was going to be garbage, so he just kind of like, I'm too busy doing fantasy stuff. So you got the boot. I got another guy in. A lot of guys from Chicago area. I'm on a waiting list to get in the home league, so I don't really have a problem filling the home leagues too much, which is a good problem to have. There's a lot of people in Chicago area, so
yeah.
But it is what it is. That happens sometimes. But we give out. That was another question. If you win the losers bracket, in different leagues, it has different prizes. But if you win the shit bracket, even though it's for the lottery balls too, if you win the shit bracket, you also get pick 113 or 213, depending on the league. So you get an extra bonus for actually winning the shit balls. So you don't want to get rid of too many good players because there's an extra bonus for winning the shit bracket. So, the more you keep people interested, and the more fun it is, and it's just more competitive all the time.
Yeah, John, I always agree with you on that one. I like when our leagues have some kind of bonus for the toilet bowl, so you keep guys in it, so they keep fighting it out. I mean, even if you're trading away and go over next year, you don't want guys completely tanking where their team's awful for 10 years because they're trying to get the 1 year. So yeah, I always like those bonus picks, either into the first round or into the second round. Like I said, a lot of my leagues will have a little battle royale basically between the non-playoff teams, and whoever actually wins that gets the 1-1. So you actually have to still have a decent team to get that 1-1.
Yeah. I mean, for us, I know we don't have any of that in any of the leagues that Mike commissions. We're in leagues that have a lot of different crazy stuff, whether it's lottery. I don't actually know that we have a consolation pick in any of the leagues that I'm in. The one thing for me especially, and Mike can attest to this, is, if you were to do the dynasty, what you did this year in your dynasty leagues, you'd probably be surprised at how many I intentionally was not trying to win. So with that mindset for me, like when I rebuild, I think there's an art to rebuilding, and I like the fact that I can control where my picks are. So especially like 113, I would not be the biggest fan of, or I would just have to change my strategy because like I that's 201. Like you're directly taking the pick in front of on my rebuild pick. So that would be my only fight back on that. But I think it's a cool feature, especially like in a lineup league, to your guys' point, right? I think this makes a lot of sense in a lineup league if you're going to do a shit bowl where you're trying to make people really think about winning and keep their interest, because in best ball the best team's still going to win in the shit bowl regardless. So
Right.
I get it from the lineup lens.
Yeah.
Man, Adam, you kind of hit it on the head there for me, man. I would definitely do it even in our best ball leagues, like a consolation bracket where you get like the 213 or the 113 or something along those lines, because I think it is a little bit fun. The problem is I commissioned like 17, 18 of these leagues, and as you saw today, it took me like a half hour to go through and figure out what the draft order was for everybody, and then put in like the regular season points winner, who's getting paid for that. And that's just half the league's draft order. Like, it takes like a half an hour for me to go through this shit, every single one of these leagues. So I don't need anything extra on my plate as far as like, oh, who won the consolation bracket? And now I got to add an extra round and make sure that they get the pick here. And then if it gets traded, I got to keep track of that too. But I definitely would like to do some more fun stuff like that. I'm in a couple leagues that I don't commission that does it, which I think is really cool. But as far as leagues Adam and I do with a lot of our Patreons, there's no chance in hell I got the time for that.
Yeah, I think the more leagues you get in, the more you're like, oh, well, let's make this a little easier. Because I was the same way. When I was only in like 3-4 leagues and I was commissioned like 3 of them, I was doing all kinds of crazy bonus points, highest scoring running back, highest scoring wide receiver, like all this different payouts. It was really fun. And the second I got to like 10 plus leagues, I'm like, all right, guys, we got to drop that. I don't have time to mess with that every week. We'll just go season wins, and whoever won it and whoever had most points, we pay out for that. But yeah, once you get in a lot of leagues, you got to drop some of that little stuff because you just don't have enough time to do it, especially in a bunch of leagues.
Yeah, and one thing that we do, like I know Mike, we have a lot of different variations in all the leagues we're in, right? Like one thing, if you listen to Mike and I, we play Superflex. You're not going to find me in any one quarterback leagues other than maybe a home work redraft league. Outside of that, I'm playing Superflex. That's the way we play. But outside of that, like we have different levels of tight end premiums. We have huge starting rosters, small starting rosters. We have, PPR leagues, half PPR leagues. We have tiered PPR leagues where running backs, their catch is lower than the wide receiver, and then the tight end gets more than the wide receiver. So we have a lot of different variation in our leagues, but that's the other thing for Mike at the end. He's got to figure out, okay, what are the payouts in all the different leagues? Like some leagues we're paying, a payout to the person that does score the most points in the regular season. So he's got to figure out all that stuff too. That's why today I was literally looking at all these messages thinking, man, I don't envy the side that Mike has today with all the different commissioner shit,
Yeah, my hardest part of the offseason is before the season starts. The reason we have divisions, we have a division lottery. So all 4 division winners, it's a home league kind of thing. All 4 division winners have a lottery, and whoever was the worst of the 4 division winners, we have a snake draft, and you actually pick your opponents. So you laugh. Whoever gets picked first in that draft is like, you're the piece of shit team in the league, So it's more shit to laugh at each other with,
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
It's stuff like that just makes fucking home leagues fun,
That's the one place too I was going to say about divisions. Like Mike and I don't play in any division leagues outside of the Royal Rumble League, which is kind of by necessity 28 teams. But I do think in home leagues, even in Dynasty, the divisions, I do have the one that I run as a commissioner, because it gives an added like sense of rivalries. And if you ever have people like we set up new divisions this year in a home league that I started last year, and the divisions pretty much are set up where like the dudes that tend to talking the most shit to each other in league chat, they're in the divisions with each other, so they got to see each other twice a year. There's more reason for them to talk shit back and forth. So like there are times and places where I really like divisions in Dynasty or in regular fantasy redraft.
Yeah, me and Mike were talking about this last week. My home big Dynasty 2 QB league, we do divisions, but I also do it where we reset the division every year depending on where everybody finishes. So I go odds and evens. So first, third, fifth, seventh, ninth, and then second, fourth, sixth. And so you're still getting those same guys in divisions fighting each other out every year, but it's keeping it mixed up so you don't have loaded divisions for years and years, and the other division guys are sneaking by because everybody's in a rebuild. So I like it for division reason that way, because then you really got a reason you're fighting everybody in your division twice in a season.
Yeah, for sure. That makes a lot of sense, man. The divisions are really fun.
Yeah, JT froze a little bit. Like, I don't know if I said it before, but my schedule, making up a schedule, I have to make up a schedule where week one is a winner play all, where it goes by win, loss, or tie between the divisions depending on who scored the points, and then the rest. I had to make up the rest of the schedule, so it's you play each other 2, 3. You play your division opponents in week 2, 3, and 4, and then 12, 13, and 14. So I got to redo all the schedules, so everybody plays those 3 and 3 at the very beginning and very end, and everybody plays each other once during the season too. So it's literally a whole spreadsheet of like trying to incorporate all the teams playing each other. I got it down to a science now because I have it's almost like a color by number sheet with teams. I put them in individually and then go from there. But it's having to do that for 7 leagues before the league even starts is already a big pain in the butt. Now I have to figure out like 7 playoff scenarios like tonight before waiver wire shit starts.
I'm listening to this thinking we need more Johns. We need more Mikes of the world, man. Doing this stuff for the leagues because I'm out here just coasting. I'm playing. Mike's just texting. All right, max points for winner Adam. Like, all right, yeah, I'll take that extra 50, but I'm not doing any of the work to figure out who the hell won what.
It's fun. You know what? That's why I do it. I like doing it. When it becomes a problem, then I'll be like, hey, guys, no more of this, no more of that. But until then, I'm probably going to have like 1 or 2 more home leagues. And then that'll be the point where I just can't do it anymore, like any more of that without being effective at it. So I can still do it now, but it is what it is. Next question was, what's the most fab you ever traded for a player?
Ooh.
Fab I received or fab I actually traded away?
Either one. I just traded away. I traded away $438 or something like that to get out of a night the other day, and everybody's laughing, saying, this and that, fab, whatever. So, like, it doesn't matter have you ever traded for, or like in an individual, it doesn't matter. I incorporate into a trade.
Yes, definitely. Especially, so John, I would say this, man. In best ball, one of the things that makes that format so unique is for me last year, I got to watch a lot of teams that won the title, Mike included. Mike actually beating my ass in the semis in the OG Bomb Squad League, right? He picked up because he had some fab money tucked away, man. He picks up Isaiah McKenzie. Who the care? I watched that transaction go through like, it ain't nothing. Isaiah McKenzie's his leading wide receiver on the week for a 40 burger. I was going to lose regardless, but like fab in the playoffs really does matter in best ball because there is weekly going to be some turd that you're not going to care about in lineup that's worth a lot of fab. And if you have a hammer in best ball leagues, you can kill it there. So in best ball especially, I've traded for some fab on contending teams. There's been a few ways I've done this now. So if I'm contending on a best ball team, I'm looking to trade some of these thirds, fourths, injured players that really are, dynasty prayer, hopeful type players for fab money to try to go get a clip for the playoffs. And vice versa. If I'm out, like I'll let you have my fab money. I'll take your third though, even if it's late. Like I'll take that third and I can probably grease it. Even if I don't take a player there, I can grease that as piece in the offseason to make a move later. So in best ball for me, whether I'm contending or rebuilding, I've made a bunch of these trades. I think the most I've ever traded, I did get someone's entire fab budget and they were inactive. Like they were not active. So I think it was a $200 per person. So I got all $200 for a third round pick. So like I was going in with basically a whole new fab budget, which was awesome.
It's funny this comes up too, because just about an hour ago I sent a trade to Adam specifically for $936 of his fab. He's out of it. He's the 101. He ain't playing. I'm in the damn playoffs. I got a 4th and a 5th round pick, buddy.
Well, here's the thing.
Let me get that fab.
This is one of my problems. Ever since I don't have as many as Mike does, but I have over 20 leagues in Sleeper, and my notifications have been absolutely brutal. I don't even know that trade's out there. So maybe we'll have an on-air trade for you, John, here. We'll see what the kid sent me. But go ahead, Mike.
That's it, man. I mean, we're talking about the most. That'd be the most fab I've ever traded for. It's just what you were talking about. I'm in the playoffs. It's a best ball league. I need the hammer.
You got to shut down the Sleeper app and reload it sometimes because it falls behind when you don't get an update.
Yeah. I think I probably need to start doing that more. Maybe uninstalling and reinstalling because someone will hit me up, 4 hours later. Hey man, what's going on? You just sitting on this trade? I'm not sitting on your trade. I haven't seen it, man. Come on, I'm not sitting on it.
Just leaving you on read, buddy.
Somebody just lost Kyler Murray last night, so I tried trading. I'm really good at I got Dak and Trevor and somebody else on this team. Well, I got Ryan Tannehill, and this guy needs a quarterback. He's got Josh Allen, but that's pretty much it. So I tried to trade away Tannehill to get Greg Dulcich on my team because I love Greg, and it's tight end 1.75 premium. So I have no use for Tannehill going forward, but he's like, no, it ain't gonna happen. I'm like, shit, man. I tried to do it, but I knew it wouldn't go through. But whatever. If you need a quarterback, I played in 2 quarterback leagues for like 15 years before Superflex even came around. So 12 team, 2 quarterbacks. Those are brutal because if you don't have a second quarterback, your guy goes down, you're trading away. I mean, back in the day, people were trading away Adrian Peterson in his prime because, because somebody like Blaine Gabbert went down or something. You're going to get 0 for your second spot if you don't get a quarterback. So it's brutal.
Oh, yeah. That second QB in 2 QB leagues is absolute freaking gold. Yes. I remember guys not having their backup QB. I'm like, how do you not have like 2 or 3 stashed backup QBs for your guys, starters? Guys just wouldn't even have them on their roster. I'm like, I'm going to load up on everyone's backup QBs and just hold them for ransom until somebody gets hurt. And then I'm like, I need a second round for that guy. I need a third rounder for that guy.
Yeah, especially in like a 6 touchdown league, something like 6 point per touchdown league, something like that. It's absolutely brutal when that shit happens. It is what it is.
Yeah, for the faithfuls of our 4DChess podcast, John, JT, we preach quarterback horde and the strength in numbers, even with the dog shit turds that can give you. I'll say this too. I think I have. What's funny, I'm in 21 or 22, 23. I don't even remember how many it is now. All these leagues, and it's like when Kyler goes down, it's funny because I start thinking like, this is how sick I am now. Someone goes down with an injury, and you're kind of thinking this looks long term and bad. My immediate thought is, okay, do I have Kyler? Is it in a rebuild or is it a contender? And you start thinking, I'm like, oh, you know what? I think I'm good. 5 seconds, 10 seconds pass. I'm like, oh, damn it. Patreon Best Ball League 1. And it's a 2 quarterback league. What? So I'm sitting there thinking I need to make a trade. When we get Sleeper, the way it works in that league and a lot of leagues is you have until the end of week 14. So you basically have until the end of that game to try to get a trade done. And I'm looking around, and then I end up seeing that I had Rodgers still. So I'm like, I'm not going to get bent over on Kyler. Someone's going to try to absolutely grease me here because there's 2 hours until we can get a deal done. Someone's going to kill me. So I'm just going to roll with Aaron Rodgers, and I have forget who the other quarterback is. I'll have to take a look. But I have 2 quarterbacks in there that still can get it done. But in best ball, you want to have a third one in a 2 QB league, right? Because you get whatever those 2 QBs get now. If Rodgers goes out there and stinks it up, that's it. That's your quarterback too.
Man. Yep, that's how it works, man. That's exactly how it works. So as far as payouts are concerned, you mentioned that before. If you win your division, there's 2 division winners that get a bye in the first round. So they're number 1 and 2. They both get 4% of the entire league payout, payout wise. And then the other 2 division and all 4 division winners get a 4%. So really, you're paying if you get the first round bye, and if so your team 1 and 2, you get 8% of the pot, which is pretty much your entrance fee. The other guys get pretty much half their fee back, and then the rest that's left over is 70, 25, and 5 for the rest of the payouts for everyone. So how do your league, I guess, Mike, this is a question for you. How do you pay out your leagues?
Most of them we set up, so just a typical one for us is a $50 entry fee, so you have $600 in the pot at the end of the year. I would say majority of our leagues, Adam, probably pay out, $400 to first, 100 to second, and then 100 to whoever the regular season points champ was. Now, some of the leagues voted for paying out third place, which is dumb, but
I hate it.
I gotta do what the people want, man. There's a reason I put it up for a vote. That's what you want, that's what we get. But on those ones, it'll usually be like 400, 150, and like $50. You'll get your entry fee back essentially for third place. But generally, those are pretty standard payouts for our leagues, where we always like to give something for winning the regular season, and then obviously we want first to just take home most of the money. Right?
No, I get that.
Glad you got second. Here's a little prize, but you still lost. Still lost.
It's funny because that's what I got. The one that I definitely got most points for. Somebody, people are in there voting for the third place, which took my winnings from that 100 back to, I mean, you make your money back, but it's not what you should get for winning most points in the regular season. But one thing I really like about all of our leagues is, like, the scoring is basically already set up when you come in. It's kind of an art. Like, go look at the scoring, make sure you know what you're doing before you start drafting. But we always, every single time, Mike pins it and says, what are the payouts that you want to do? He puts it in the league chat, and we let everyone vote. And that way, everybody gets a say in what the payouts are.
That's the way to do it, man. I mean, we set it up originally with those votes, but if something's got to change, it's 66% of the league to change anything. So I have a I don't know if JT, if you saw my list I put out in the new league yet about all the rules and stuff, if you read through that yet, but it's probably 15 pages long about all the stuff that I've learned since I've been 16 years old that
It's
people
pretty
got
long.
burned on. It is pretty long. It's a manifesto of all the league rules, but I've learned from all the times. I got to send you guys, or Mike, I'll send you this since you're the commissioner. It is all the stuff about collusion and trading and everything else that goes on, and the payouts and divisions and all the other setup and tiebreakers in the playoffs and everything else. But there's no question. I've every year something else goes wrong. We voted on extra COVID IR spots. Now we're voting to take those spots away because COVID's over with. We're voting on there's always something that changes, or and that goes in red underneath that original one, what got changed, so you can see the amendments and the date and all the time. So you got to keep on top of it, and you got to let you can't really change the rules, but you can amend the rules a little bit to make people happy. Changing the scoring is usually the hardest thing to do. That any alteration to scoring is generally speaking the hardest thing because people draft around the scoring. So it is what it is, but
100%.
All right.
I got a quick question for you guys. How do you feel about chops? Do you, as a commish, if people say they want to chop the championship game money up in half, do you jump in on that, or do you let people make that decision? The reason I've never done that, and then all of a sudden I hear people talking about it nonstop lately on Discord pages and Twitter about already looking to chop because they already got a bye week in the first round, and it's like, oh, really? So how do you guys feel about the chop?
Listen,
we did this on the DD draft. Go ahead, Mike.
If it went down in one of the leagues, right, as commissioner, and Adam, you're going to be in it, if we're not involved in it, first off, if Adam and I are in the championship, there's no fucking way either one of us is bowing out. That's not happening, period.
Fuck you, buddy.
No,
we're going to find out.
I'm going all or nothing, right? But if, for whatever reason, we weren't a part of it, it was a couple other teams, and they're in it, and they want to do it, fine, but I'm going to ridicule them mercilessly in chat. I'm going to tell them how soft they are. I'm going to go hard at it. I hate it. I think it's dumb. I think you take the easy way out. If you're like, hey, let's split the pot. We'll just chop it up. Nah, man. Nah, that's not what we play for. There needs to be a championship. Yeah, this isn't soccer. We don't end in ties.
Dude, I agree 100%. I'm the same way. I'm a total double down guy. I never hedge. I don't mess with that. I'm like, nope, I'm going in more. I keep seeing people saying chop, and I'm just like, man, why? I just can't do it. I'd rather just lose than chop and not take my chance of the title and the most money. I don't know, but that's just me. I guess that's my mindset, but I just want to see what you guys thought about that.
I don't care what people do. If you got a problem with it, then get on the championship game and figure it out yourself. Win the championship. Don't. If somebody wants to split it, that's up to them. If they get half the money, that's what they don't think they can win it, and they make a deal, then they make a deal. It's none of my business what somebody else wants to do. Hey, if you want to go all for it until everybody goes, hey, go fucking pound sand, then go have it. If you want to say, hey man, I don't think I can win, but I'm willing to split it, and the other guy said reach an agreement, that's the same as the trade as far as I'm concerned. It's none of my business. That's what two owners who spent their money to do it, that's what they do. So let it be.
I'm actually with you, John. Though, first of all, I'm with Mike. I will ridicule you if you tell me that's what happens. I'm gonna ridicule you. You didn't even have the balls, to go see if you win the title when you're there. You actually are gonna win money regardless, and you're already splitting. The one thing though, I will say, it's not my business. It's your money. You want to do what you want to do with your money. By all means, man. I'm not gonna tell you how to spend your money. I think the only concern that I've seen though is if there's a lot of this talk about splitting and it's early and you're not even in the ship, I think there becomes this point where people are worried of collusion. These are two guys that are out here, splitting the pot when they make it to the championship. But what if one of them doesn't? Are they still splitting? And then what are their teams looking like? I think that's probably part of the problem. But ultimately, man, if you want to split, go ahead and split. I'm out here to try to win money and the most money I can. That's not by splitting in the title.
Yeah, see right here, Dr. Harris. I split $1,500 winnings in a 16-team league one year when I was the number one team, and I needed to end up losing the championship, and I was thankful that I split it. So I got $750 probably instead of just getting $250 or something like that. So he, it is what it is. If you think that your team is not right, but who am I to tell him, Dr. B. Harris? Who am I to tell him no, that's bullshit, blah blah blah? That's up to him, man. 100% on him, and he won because of it. I get it when it's bragging rights and your best friends or in a home league. It doesn't happen too much, I guess it all depends on how you feel about your team, what your chances are. What if you got lucky and you just, man, you went through the playoffs, you're playing somebody whose guys got hurt in the first round and you somehow made it to the ship. You're like, I don't belong here, man. I have no business being here. You're playing against an inferior opponent who just walked in the playoffs. Hey, man, guess what? I'm saying split the money. I know I'm going to get smoked anyway. And if I end up winning, I'll be like, shit, man, I feel like a jag-off now. But at the same time, I still got half the pot. I didn't lose shit. So it's hey, man, when you get there, that's your decision to make. Don't be jealous of somebody else who makes, make that decision for yourself instead of telling everybody else what to do kind of thing.
Yeah, you better get to the ship. Go ahead.
Get to the ship is right. Do your thing. All right, let's talk about thanks for talking some commissioner stuff with me, guys. I appreciate it. Week 15 waiver target. So starting with the quarterback position, Baker Mayfield is a option here. Not a really great option, but that could carry in the next year if somebody retires, that we all know and love. Ryan Tannehill, Brock Purdy, Matt Ryan, Desmond Ridder. Anybody else you guys think about or can name that you would want to know for quarterbacks? Or you're looking out this week for quarterbacks?
I mean, I'll tell you this much. I'm not picking up Brown or whoever the hell Baltimore's going to start if Lamar doesn't play or
Tyler Huntley.
If Tyler Huntley doesn't play, right? If both those guys are not playing, I'm not. I guess maybe in Superflex, if you can pick him up and you think you can flip him, if there's no trades, I don't see a lot of upside for him. But at the same time, man, if you have money and you just want a quarterback, Superflex, go ahead. I think though this list is basically everybody I can think of. I've been sitting on some Ridder shares, and it's funny because these quarterbacks that don't play, right? Like, what are you going to do with them? Their value becomes so bad during the year. Like, if you haven't played for 14 weeks, people now, like, the allure is all gone too. It's like you can't even play over Mariota. The guy stinks. Like, nobody even wants him. Rebuild, whatever. So it's funny. I actually have a couple contending teams in best ball where I've been sitting on Ridder. I've tried to move him. I can't. And it's like, all right, you're going to give me an extra super flex guy that can run the football in the playoffs? Sign me the hell up, man. Y'all should have taken whatever dog shit I was trying to get back from you on Ridder because those days are over now.
Yeah, right. Matt saying breakout game for Ridder coming.
Talk to him, Matt.
Yeah. I mean, hey, this is another reason in Dynasty, and I don't know how you guys are in best ball, but there should never, ever, ever be a trade deadline, no matter what, in the playoffs or not, because that's when the best deals are being done. When you got someone by the short and curly saying, "Oh, you need a quarterback? Well, guess what? I need first-round picks, and I need them next year too." And you don't have a quarterback, and you're going for the ship. And I love not having trade deadlines. 365 days a year. You want to send me a trade on Christmas morning while my kids are opening presents? Guess what? I'm opening that shit, and I'm gonna fucking trade it. That's I don't. There's no way. I'm a trader. I'm that person.
We are the same way, man. We all the leagues Mike's commission, no trade deadline. Last year, I remember there was a league I was really excited for in best ball. I thought this team's gold, and I had a bunch of injuries. I had Kittle and Waller that were either disappointing or hurt, and I ended up losing in the wild card first round, right? And it's crazy because all of a sudden, like if the trade deadline would have been turned off, like now all of a sudden I'm a team that's thinking about 22 at the time, right? So I was able to make a couple moves of teams that were still in it to kind of help shape my team for the following year. I don't see why you have to turn it off. If you got some idiots in your league and you're worried about what people are going to do in the playoffs and you got to turn it off, fine. But Mike and I, the leagues that he's commissioning, trade deadline doesn't exist. We don't. What's a trade deadline?
I have a couple trade deadlines in leagues I commission. It's just because people cried so much, and a majority of the people cried so much when you're like championship week and somebody sells their entire soul for the next 4 years to try to win it that week. Like, that's not fair. You have the opportunity to do it as well. I don't know what you're complaining about.
Right. Koopa Troopa H just said all my Ridder shares are best ball rebuilders past the trade deadline, so he doesn't have a chance to trade. Trade deadlines are just stupid, and I understand there's a place for trade deadlines in a redraft league because that's stupid. But unless you're playing redraft, there's zero reason to have a trade deadline ever. So, thanks for the comment again, there, buddy.
Yeah, but I've seen a bunch of people just praying for that Ridder blow up because they're like, I want to sell him so bad. I want to just have him have one or two good games so I can sell him. So I actually have a couple teams that I'm hoping he actually is decent on because I'm pretty young, high upside, but I'm bad at QB. I got Ridder, I got Pickett, I got Zach Wilson. So I'm hurting at QB, so I need one of these young guys to pop for me, or I got to figure something else out.
Sounds like half of my fucking teams. Running back, Travis Homer, Zamir White, which I'm eyeballing Zamir White everywhere because I think that the Raiders might, now that they're out of the playoffs, they might be just shutting down for maybe long-term contracting Josh Jacobs. Pierre Strong, Kevin Harris, for all of you Ramadre owners, Daria Gumawale, Keontae Ingram, Chuba Hubbard. Any other running backs you guys can think of?
Yeah, I will say. Oh, you already put them in. Never mind. Pierre Strong and Kevin Harris. Yeah, that we'll see what happens with Ramondre. But it was funny, man. Mike and I would do so much like pre-draft drafting talk and mocks, and we were all over Pierre Strong and Kevin Harris, and then they both got drafted to the same team, which plays the backfield antics, and we're kind of like, oh fuck. And I got stuck with a bunch of shares of each because no one would trade you for them. So Kevin Harris and Pierre Strong were the ones, especially here, where in that system, if you do get the work, and they both looked really good in that game, man.
Yeah, they did. Kevin Harris runs like a 4.4 140 or something like that, or a 4 something real. He's a big ass dude for running that fast too. I have him in almost every team. I drafted him in the 4th round everywhere. So
yep.
Yeah, I get it.
I mean, if you need a stash this week, Chuba Hubbard's a guy. If you're just desperate for an RB2, I mean, he had a pretty decent week last week. The Steelers have been terrible against the run. I mean, he's a guy that could actually do a little blow up. If you're some team out there looking to pick somebody up that you feel like you got to play, he might be a decent one this week.
Yeah, buddy. Wide receivers, Elijah Moore, who I drafted last year, like the beginning of the 2nd round. I absolutely love my Elijah Moore shares. They're never going to go anywhere. Chris Moore, someone that's I don't really trust, but he's got an opportunity. Terrace Marshall, a guy that didn't really pan out so far in his career. DJ Chark had a good catch last week. He had a great for rookie years, kind of like up and down season, looks pretty good. But I don't really trust that. There's almost like there's too many weapons on the Lions now. So Tutu Atwell, all 5'4", 38 pounds of Tutu Atwell. He looked pretty good on the field the other day, but man, he is so small, and I don't know what the hell they're going to do with without anybody else on the team. That may be just Baker's guy, but who knows? Any other receivers that I could missed here?
Man, it's all about.
No,
I think you got about all of them.
Yeah,
it's the DJ Chark one's really interesting to me. Like, I like what I've seen from him these last couple weeks, and I don't know. It's just kind of that player that you always like, and it's probably going to be one of these wide receivers, at least from a dynasty perspective, that I put too much stock in. And I'm like, I can't trade him for that. I can't get rid of him for that. And then he just never really does anything. But right. ever since that 2nd year breakout that he's had, like he's just had this allure, and then he gets hurt, and then he's coming back in Detroit. We'll kind of see how he fits in, and then he gets hurt again, and you're going, oh shit. It's never happening for him. And then he comes back, and he just, right at the end of the season, right before my teams that probably have DJ Chark are eliminated, just gives me that hope one more time.
he gives me the Donovan Peoples-Jones, like MVS kind of feeling is what he gives me.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
I don't like that at all. So yeah. I'm probably wrong, again, like I'm wrong on almost everything, but, that's kind of – that's the way that goes. So tight ends, Chig. I'm not even going to attempt to say his name. There's a handful of guys in this league that I'm pretty good at saying names at, but for some reason, I just cannot. Anybody of you guys take a stab at his full name?
Mike has a decent one. Go ahead, Mike.
Okonkwo.
Nice.
Okonkwo.
Yeah, see, there you go. Why can't I just say Okonkwo? I still fucked it up. We had you said it 2 seconds ago.
I really like what I saw from Chig, man. And he has a very nice RAS score. Problem with Chig is going to be, long term at least. What is the reality of him having this much of a receiving share because of how, Traylon's down these last couple of weeks, hit the touchdown, he gets hurt, and he missed this last week. Is it realistic for Chig to get this much target volume? And I think that's what's propping his points up right now, although you got to love it, right? When you talk about the tight end landscape, it's a shallow one. And I think what you have to remember here is basically when you get outside of the elite guys, you're talking about mostly tight end dependent guys, right? They're going to have 3-4 catches. They're going to have 40 yards or less, but did they get in the end zone? When you look at Chig, that was the first time he got in the end zone in a long time this last week, right? But he's actually been relevant because he has yard after the catch ability. So for Chig, for me, he is very intriguing. Problem is I have a feeling he's going to become overpriced in Dynasty because of it. So Chig's very interesting. I'm very curious on having my pulse on what's going to happen here with him.
A little fun nugget there about Chig. These last 2 weeks are the only weeks of the season he's been over a 50% snap share.
Yep.
And coincidentally, he's tight end 8 last week. He's tight end 3 this week.
Yep.
The only 2 weeks that he's been over 50% of a snap share, he finally produces. So maybe they put him on the field a little bit more. Maybe that's a good idea, Tennessee. Who knew?
what happens to him when Tannehill's gone and it's Malik Willis at quarterback? I'm not saying that's anytime soon. I think Tannehill's still the answer next year. But I'm not sure what Malik Willis. He did not look good when he played a couple games he was in. But a lot of running quarterbacks depend on their tight end. You see that it's a good part of the offense. But
well, that's the thing with Malik Willis, right? You got to look at the good and the bad. If you look at it, it's not a half full thing though. The good is far not outweighing the bad. But if you're going to look at something good, he did not complete a pass to any receivers outside the hashes. Everything was to tight ends or to running backs because he was not very accurate. So he may have to throw the ball to Chig. But for everybody's sake in Tennessee, you probably don't want to see Malik until he takes some time to develop.
The only guys I'm trading up for right now is Greg Dulcich, and I'm going to try everything I possibly can to get to pry Trey McBride from owners. That's the other guy that I don't mind overpaying for right now. I don't think he started out too well. Obviously, he didn't. He's not looking too well right now, but I think he is by far the future in Arizona. So I love Trey McBride, but other people love him, just who drafted him love him just the same as me, and he's not going anywhere until he just consistently is bad, and I'll still trade for him at that point in time. So it is what it is. So we got some injuries. Kyler Murray, torn ACL, out for the season. He's probably going to be out most of next season too, or at least half of next season because it's so late in this season. Russell Wilson got concussed last week. Mike White with his ribs will probably play. It's a week-to-week injury. Probably play this week. Kenny Pickett got a concussion. Those seem to be week-long injuries. Any other injuries to quarterbacks that I missed?
I mean, we got the
Tyler
Huntley,
Huntley.
Tyler Huntley
yeah.
situation that we don't know what the hell's happening.
You go ahead and put Lamar and Tyler up there. I'll tell you this much: being in Cleveland, that game's here. Lamar without a contract and with sleet and shit weather here, like that's going to become a running football game. You're not going to see Lamar play this week. I think they may have already said he's out. I'll be honest, I'm kind of curious to see if Lamar plays and when this year because
say it.
For a guy that doesn't have a contract and pissed at the organization, I don't know, man. This is a guy that's been hurt 2 years in a row. You going to keep going out there when you're hurt? I think it's very interesting to see how this transpires and what happens in Baltimore with him.
I said that on Twitter, and I got absolutely blown up saying it's a character thing, and he would never do that. It's a fucking business, man. And I don't give a shit what until you're in his shoes, and you're that close to a $250 million contract. I would not go out there and risk myself, and especially this time of year in the place he's got to play still. Not a chance. And it's only fair that the Ravens kind of say, hey, we don't want you to get you hurt anymore. If they really want him to get to be their future, the quarterback, they probably shut him down too and say, hey, listen, man, I know you're not negotiating anymore, but you might be past the point of no return. And at that point in time, I don't blame him for just giving two hard ones to the Ravens and saying, you know what, I'm going to walk into free agency as a fresh, ready for my next team that actually gives a shit about me, and I'm ready to go. So that's how I feel about that.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a character thing. I think at this point, like, listen, right or wrong, I'm not going to debate that, but I do think that. If you're in something like he is, like he believes Baltimore's playing hardball. And if someone's playing hardball with you, sometimes all you can do back is play hardball. And this is maybe a leverage piece he does have, which is, we'll see how Baltimore responds. And I don't know that that's going to come. That's kind of me thinking about it out loud.
No, I get it. I get it 100%.
Running backs. You got $250 to $300 million contract on the line here.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's a lot of money to go like, nah, I'm good, man. Yep. I'm good. I'm going to sit out these next couple
That's
weeks.
your kids and your grandkids and your great-grandkids and your great-grandkids' grandkids
100%.
Taken care of forever, So, yeah, you can't even spend that money if you wanted to.
Right. Even if you're stupid with money, if you just put away, 10% of it, 5% of it, and let that grow, you're talking about family money for a long time. So,
especially because he's his own agent, he's not paying somebody else too. He's keeping 3/3 of that, minus the taxes.
Yep.
So, yeah, good for him, man. I love that kind of stuff when the players take care of themselves. So, running backs, Jeff Wilson, hip a couple weeks. Ramondre Stevenson, ankle. We saw him come back in the game, play a couple snaps, and they pulled him out probably for precautionary reasons, but it's a weekly thing. Damian Pierce, ankle, a couple weeks. Any other running backs that I missed here?
I mean, if Rex Burkhead's still out there, somebody hasn't picked him up with the whole news of the Eno Benjamin getting cut, which I can't believe how these guys have just gotten cut for no apparent reason this year. That play, our backups, and then all of a sudden they're off the team. It's the craziest year for the NFL. I don't understand it at all. But with him just getting cut like that with the injury to Pierce, now they're saying today maybe 2, maybe 3 weeks. Well, now you just cut Benjamin. Now all of a sudden, who else they got? I mean, looking at Rex Burkhead possibly being a league winner again, which would be unbelievable 2 years in a row. that somehow happened.
Sexy Rexy. Yeah, that's right.
Let me say this isn't a current injury that happened this week, but for all the Darrell Henderson truthers out there, man, apparently this injury cost him his job, and nobody else has picked him up since because he's hurt. So
Yeah,
it's either he's hurt or he's just really not that good.
I was going to say, what do you see on that? I haven't seen much on the injury front, and I figure there's got to be something that he keeps getting cut. There's no reason everybody just keeps cutting him out of nowhere unless he just can't perform at all.
Rumor I got was that what I've read basically online is that he was kind of told to go in the game. He said he had some kind of a tweak injury, and he was not going to go back in. Following week, McVay, and then they cut him basically a day later. And since then, I mean, you're talking about the reason I bring it up. You're talking about Jeff Wilson's hurt, right? Miami, New England has an injury. Dameon Pierce is hurt. As far as I'm aware of that I've seen, I haven't even seen like, hey, someone's flew him out to work out. Like I've seen nothing. Like no team is like checking, hey, Darrell Henderson, like let's see if we can get him in here, which is really interesting to me.
Wow. The Eno thing, I think maybe that some other team called and said, hey, we want Eno, and it's past the trade deadline. So they may have been doing him a favor, but he's been passed around so much too. I don't know what his story is. I really like Eno Benjamin. He's one of my like kind of hold on to guys just in case, but it's like I hold on to him and I really get expectations, and an opportunity comes up like this and then he gets cut. It's like, man, what am I missing? What am I missing on this guy?
Yeah, to me, just in general, this season was the most random year for people getting cut, like out of nowhere. I mean, guys were starting 1 week, 2 weeks later they're cut. It's like it's just been kind of crazy. I don't remember a year like this in the NFL where guys just got cut for no reason mid-season, even when they're playing.
Yeah. Wide receiver Deebo Samuel, about a monthish with a MCL. T Higgins hammy, couple weeks. Those are funny. Tyler Boyd finger, a couple weeks again. Nobody until his hand works properly, he'll be out. DJ Moore, my love, my guy, my Mr. Everything, knee weekly. Everything came back negative as far as MRIs and all that shit today. So he actually has a chance of playing this week. But, I just wish that he would get a quarterback and actually be DJ Moore that he could be. So any other wide receivers I missed?
No, I think you got them all. The crazy thing is, though, when you're sitting here and you're naming these off, especially once you started running backs and wide receivers, that we have to remember as fantasy players, that it kind of just hit me just now, is when you're talking about a guy who's weekly, couple weeks, monthly, that's the entire fantasy season that we have left. These dudes might as well just say IR next to their name because they're pretty much dead to us.
Yeah,
there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, you can ride out hope that maybe one of these guys comes back for championship week 17, and you get to play them. But for the most part, if you're dealing with a lot of injuries, you got a lot of players on your team on this list that John just read off, you're probably not making it to week 17 anyways.
That's right. It's over. Nobody listens to techno.
Yeah. Well, what do you guys feelings on T.Y. Hilton? I can't believe it took him this long to get signed. I figured if he didn't get signed at the beginning of the year, he was absolutely done skis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm shocked that he just got signed this week. It's blowing my mind. What do you guys think about him? Has he got any chance to produce anything?
So
is he worth a pickup?
When I first saw the tweet, right, especially with the new Twitter takeover, like I had to click multiple times. Like I thought for sure this is a parody account. Like there's no way that T.Y. Hilton just got signed by the Dallas Cowboys. Then I find out it's the real one, and I'm like thinking, like, I mean, I know they've been wanting receiver, right? The OBJ thing went back and forth. Everybody thought he was going there, and then they found out the knee's not going to be right till the playoffs, and he's saying, I just want to play when the pressure's right. Well, that's fine, but you think some team wants to give you meaningful snaps when they have no idea what you're going to look like out there? So obviously they're desperate, but man, this there's desperate and then there's T.Y. Hilton desperate. Like this guy looked like dust, man. Like I mean absolute dust. I can't say I'm really interested to see what he looks like because I don't think it's going to be much, but we'll see if he gets snaps out there, man.
I stood up in my rookie draft last year and I waited like at 301. Jalen Tolbert fell to me and I'm like, yes. And where the hell is he at? What is going on with Jalen Tolbert, man? Him and like David Bell and all these other guys, it's like, what the shit?
Jalen Tolbert has apparently got awful at football. Like, who knew, right? They want to bring in a one-legged OBJ. That doesn't work out. They're praying for Michael Gallup to come back. He looks kind of slow, hasn't really gotten off to a great thing. They were just talking up about James Washington being ready to come back off injured reserve. They can't wait to activate him. And then they signed T.Y. Hilton. So I think that pretty much tells you everything you need to know about Jalen Tolbert. And I'm with you. I drafted a lot of Jalen Tolbert last year in the 3rd round. And in startup drafts, 14th, 15th round, I can't believe you guys let me get Jalen Tolbert. Oh, explosive offense with Dak. They need him. Yeah, he hasn't done nothing, man. Noah Brown became a thing for a little bit. Then he went away, and then he came back last week, and he was kind of a thing again. So, pretty much in Dallas, man, all you want is Tony Pollard, Zeke, Dak. you want CD Lamb, and that's about it. Dalton Schultz, maybe.
No tight end injuries, so we do this thing every day where we fly through. Everybody gets about, try and get like 15 seconds or so on each team. I'll name a team. I got your name next to the team that you're taking. I'll just ask a quick question. You give me a quick answer, and we'll get through all 32 teams as fast as possible, okay?
Let's go.
Mike, Bears. Do the Bears keep Justin Fields and sell the number 2 pick, presumably, or sell Justin Fields and have multiple picks with a new quarterback to begin the rebuild?
I think they keep both. I think Jalen Carter or Will Anderson is going to be too appealing for them to trade the pick, and Justin Fields has shown enough. He's a long-term answer at quarterback for the Chicago Bears.
Bears should probably just trade back. Should just trade back that number two overall pick and get a couple more picks because they're in a rebuild. They need to do that. So, Adam, Bengals. What's going on with Joe Mixon dynasty value going forward if he doesn't get the goal line carries?
I mean, if he doesn't get the goal line carries,
he had none last week.
Right. If that's actually the real trend moving forward, we're talking scary hours because he's going to be towards the end of his contract. He's getting older, and he's not getting goal line work and not getting passing work, third down work, I should say. Scary hours. I think it's going to be fluke kind of this week. I don't think this trend continues. However, if it is no goal line carries, people are going to be panicking, man. Panicking hard.
Justin, I keep asking this question. When is Josh Allen going to be Josh Allen again?
Dude, we talk about it all the time. These ups and downs, and ups and downs in the NFL. It's like week to week, guys. Like everybody flips out one week about a guy, then he's the greatest ever the next week, then he's down again the next week. I mean, I still think this Bills team is going to be good. I mean, Cole Beasley getting signed. I mean, maybe he's the answer there, but I just think they're going through a little bit of a slump. I still like the Bills, and then still think Josh Allen's coming through for me. You can't sit him fantasy playoffs down the end here. You got to play him. Got to play him.
Mike, Broncos, why can't Sutton just be better than Judy? I understand he got hurt this week, but, man, why does Judy just get these opportunities to be better than Cortland Sutton all the time?
Because Cortland Sutton is put on this earth to break our hearts.
Yes, that's the correct answer.
And then they reincarnated him for a little bit as Brian Edwards, and then he also broke our hearts, and then now we're back to Cortland Sutton.
Brian Edwards, my guy.
Yeah, another nightmare pick for me. That's what I do. Adam, Browns, David Njoku moving into tight end 3 for Dynasty?
Tight end 3, I can't do that. Because I still going to have to put, as bad as it's been, and there's no quarterback play, I still can't put him ahead of Andrews or Kelsey. Can't put him ahead of Pitts. Mike and I just talked about this recently. I think probably around tight end 5-ish, you could really make a case. Tight end 4, even if you really wanted to. But I can't put him top 3, no.
All right, fair. Justin, Buccaneers, is Chris Godwin a buy, sell, or hold in PPR Dynasty leagues?
You're probably a hold on Godwin, unless you're a team that's missing the playoffs and somebody's desperate, they need him, then you could sell him. But I think if you're in contention, you got a good team, you're probably holding Godwin. You're probably not going to get a first for him.
Yeah, he broke up again. Yeah, I get it. He's getting 14, targets a game. So if I'm out of the playoffs this week, I think, unfortunately, I like Chris Godwin as much as I like DJ Moore, and it's going to have to, I'm just going to have to sell Chris Godwin this year. It is what it is. Mike, Cardinals, will Colt McCoy be the starter next year to start the year off?
Probably for about 3-4 games if they don't bring in some other sort of bridge quarterback. But Kyler Murray will be back probably earlier than we think, too.
I hope so. Adam, Chargers. Someone offered me Keenan Allen for my Trevor Lawrence in the Dynasty Superflex this past weekend. How close was that offer?
I would say that's as close as I am to the other side of the equator. It's just it's so bad.
I got that, and I'm like, what the fuck, dude? For real? Come on. I mean, I understand that.
Those are my favorite, though. The ones, I always like kind of, if it's someone's trying to send me Keenan Allen and I'm on a rebuild for my receiver, they just aren't paying attention. This is I say, why do you hate me? What did I do to you? How bad? What? This Lawrence is ascending like crazy, man.
Yes, he is. He's been hot. I've been trying to get Keenan Allen from a guy because I need a like a number 2, a second flex player in the league, and I'm like, all right, Keenan Allen, I can't trust him. He's been hurt a lot. We'll see what it is. When he's out there, he's fucking phenomenal. So I tried to get him, and I got a rebuttal of Keenan Allen for Trevor Lawrence. I'm like, come on, man. Like it's rough. But anyway, let's see. Justin, Chiefs, is Isaiah Pacheco ever going to be Jamal Charles like I want him to be?
Absolutely not. He's not going to be Jamal Charles. He's been good. He's been better than I did have any of him. I tell you what, I liked him better than CEH, so I guess I'll go with that. But he's been decent for him, as most you could ask out of any running back for the Chiefs in a while, other than Jerick McKinnon just every once in a while comes out of nowhere and plays amazing. It's crazy.
Unless Jet goes down, he's not even sniffing that role. But McKinnon looked real good last week, and I just traded for him the week before that for a 4th-round pick, and I started him this week, which pretty much got me in the playoffs, so I was super happy about that.
That was a huge move.
Mike, we always like Colts questions around here, okay, because Justin's a season ticket holder for the Colts game. So are the Colts going to come out of the bye and steamroll the Vikings, Chargers, and Giants?
If you had put get steamrolled by yes. Steamroll, no, unless you consider like going 1-2 steamrolling. If that's the case, then yes. Yes, Justin, they will steamroll those 3 teams by going 1-2.
Adam, Commanders, when the hell will Sam Howell get his chance?
I'm already liking this because clearly you did some background and knew that you couldn't ask Mike this question because you wouldn't get a real answer because he's going to tell you how much he loves Sam Howell. I'm going to tell you this much, man. With what they've dealt with at quarterback this year, the fact that he's not getting his chance means that it ain't coming. And love the talent. Thought there was going to be much better draft capital, but with not getting a chance on this Commanders team, forget about it, man. It's over.
Yeah. Justin, you're now out of the playoffs. What are you asking for Zeke in a team fire sale in a 12-team league? What do you ask? You got Zeke. You're trying to sell him. What are you asking for?
The question is what I'm asking, what I could probably get. I don't know if you could, maybe if somebody's absolutely desperate, you could get a late first, but I'm guessing most people are probably going to think that 2nd round range for Zeke. Maybe try to flop another player and another pick together to make it not hurt so much. But, yeah, I just don't think you're going to get much more than a mid to late 2nd for Zeke unless somebody's just absolutely desperate.
Tua. Is Tua just fucking garbage or is it true or false?
That's harsh. That's harsh. You're allowed to have one bad game.
John hates
games in a row.
Tua. John hates Tua.
We got a spicy one then. All right.
Come on, man.
He had one good quarter the whole season, and that's all. I mean, literally.
Oh, my gosh.
You know what's crazy, John? This isn't my question, but I'm going to step in. After throwing 35% completion, he still has the number 2 QBR in the NFL?
Damn.
That's a hell of a quarter if that's the case.
That's a hell of a quarter.
I get it. The guy, like, we go to this every week. I see the guy throws 5-yard slants, and the guy's taking 84 yards to the house, and it's maddening to see. Like, good for him, but he's not. Jeez, I just don't. Next question.
If 201 MVP, John would still hate him.
Well, yes.
Next question's the correct answer because we would just spend all day not going anywhere.
Jalen Hurts, quarterback 1 going forward. Adam.
Oh my goodness, yes, absolutely.
100%. Justin, Falcons. Desmond Ritter will turn this team around.
I don't know if he's turning him around, but I'd love to see him do a little something with whatever he can here. Give him a little upside going into next season. Give him something to think about. That'd be great for fantasy purposes all around and for the Falcons. See if they got something in Ritter.
Mariota I saw something on Twitter today. I retweeted that he went home to have a baby. That's the only reason he's not here this week. So that's why Ritter is the starter. It might not be permanent. But
also, word out there that Mariota has a knee injury that they haven't really been talking about that might actually get him put on IR for the rest of the year. So we'll see what that happens with that too.
Very good. Mike, George Kittle is about to be a stud again. Are we going after Danny Gray now that Debo's out?
No to Danny Gray and no to George Kittle, unfortunately. So I'm an Iowa guy. I love him. But, the dude ran 19 routes last week. Come on.
Right. I think it's over. Adam, is Barkley a buy or sell this offseason?
It'll be interesting to see how he finishes out the rest of the year if he can stay healthy. I think he's probably, I talked about this a few weeks back, he's reaching probably a peak in dynasty cost just because he's smashing. But people are going to forget about the injuries and all this stuff if he continues to play the rest of the year. I would say, he's probably more of a sell than a buy. I think the reality for me is on my contenders, I'm probably going to hold Barkley until the end of time just because he is so special as a talent and athlete. He's one of those I'm just going to Mike and I have the scale, right? The fuck around and the find out scale. I'm going to fuck around and find out with Saquon Barkley.
Fucking right you are. That's right. Matt Bruni says Riddle helps the Falcons win out and win the division. Hey, man. It could happen. There's enough talent on the team. So, a change of pace or, nobody's got tape on the quarterback yet. You never know what's going to happen as far as that goes. So,
sure.
I don't blame it. Justin, Jaguars dynasty startup. You're on the clock. Watson or Trevor Lawrence?
I'm T-Law. You know me, I'm Team T-Law all day, every day. I think he had the worst possible start to his NFL career he could have, and he's already kind of bounced back this year. We're seeing it. Get a couple more pieces around him. I think we're going to end up seeing a lot of good T-Law for the next decade.
So do I. Agreed. Mike, Jets. What happens to the Jets running back stable next season when it's Carter, Knight, and Breece Hall?
I think for a majority of the season, you're going to have a really ugly committee while they're working Breece back in. But the minute he's fully healthy and a full go, it's over. It's back to Breece Hall show. He's too good, too explosive, played way too well when he got the carries this year for him to not carry the mail, to be the guy.
Yeah, I agree. Lions, rebuild around Jared Goff next year or make the move to upgrade a quarterback through the draft or go get Rodgers, Brady, etc.?
Definitely no to the latter. I think Goff's made a very good case to keep as a bridge. I think the problem is with Goff, he's probably the best case for them next year, but we all kind of know what Jared Goff is. Even when he's playing like this, he's not going to win you, he's not going to help you win the title. Obviously, we saw what he did at the title game. But, I think they're going to keep him. From what I've read, they're not going to go up and trade to get a quarterback, but I think the problem is eventually Detroit is going to want to try to find a long-term NFL Super Bowl champion, MVP type caliber player, and I don't think that's Jared Goff. So I don't know if it's this year, but they will probably eventually look for that upgrade.
Yeah, I agree. I think Goff's there all next year, and then they'll move on from there. Let's see. Justin, Packers. Is Christian Watson really only a best ball player?
Well, if you got him in best ball, you're loving life. Right now, he's been fantastic for that. I told us a couple weeks ago, I still have him on 3 taxi squads because I just kept thinking the second I take him off, he's going to fall off the face of the earth again, and he hasn't. So you're welcome, everyone, for me leaving him on the taxi squad. He keeps blowing up every week. He's looked good. He's going to have the opportunities. So, Packers got no one else. No one else. So he's going to keep getting shots at it. That's for sure.
Yeah, Mike, Panthers. DJ Moore makes me cry like a little girl. That doesn't ever love you back. Is he ever going to pan out?
No, he's going to be like that girl that doesn't love you back, and you're always going to think with your heart. And I'm always going to draft him, and I'm always going to trade for him because I think he's going to be something, and I'm going to do content on him, and he's never going to do shit to pay off. I've come to that point where I'm just in, fine.
Adam, true or false? Adam, true or false? The Patriots are the most well-coached team with no real talent.
I would say yeah, but I also think the problem with this is where Hoodie gets too much credit is because he's also the guy operating as GM. So part of the reason they don't have talent is because of him, and they have a defensive coordinator calling plays. At a certain point, you can coach, but you're in your own fucking way.
Yeah. Justin, Raiders, shut down Josh Jacobs and re-sign him long-term?
I don't think you shut him down. I think you play him. But I said this last week. I still think they figure out a way to re-sign him. I think they franchise him and try to get a deal out. And I think they get him for a decent amount of money, nothing crazy. Because I think he'll look at the market and realize no one else is going to give him a ton of money either.
Yeah, 35 other good running backs coming out next year too. So he's going to have a lot of competition. Beggars can't be choosers kind of thing when it's that much talent around him. Mike, Rams are built around Baker Mayfield going forward.
In the same way that the Saints are building around Andy Dalton. That's it. No coach, no offense, no draft picks, and no salary cap. So go ahead, build around Baker all you want.
Got to do what you do. Adam, Ravens. Is Lamar going to give Baltimore the hard one and just sitting out? I think we already talked about this. So
this is funny, man. No disrespect to you. I didn't read the show notes because I like to come on and just be real. This is kind of like Mike and I. If we script too much, we just getting our own way. I just like to keep it real. I already hit on this. I didn't realize you had a question and had it for me. I think it's a possibility. To say he's going to do it, I can't really predict that, but I do think it's a scenario.
Yeah, 100%. Justin, Saints, when the fuck will Jameis Wilson start? Jameis Winston start?
It's blows my mind. I mean, I would understand if they were like in contention and Andy Dalton had been playing pretty solid and they're like, okay, we got a shot to make the playoffs. We don't want to mess up team chemistry. I just don't understand this move at all by them. I don't know why they're not playing Jameis Winston. All it tells me is they hate him. He's going to be gone next year. There's no way they can play him next year after sitting him this whole season.
Every show has to have a Jameis Winston question because he is my favorite player in the league. So that's that's it is what it is. So sorry guys, you have to sit through Jameis Winston questions whenever you're on the show. So Mike, the Seahawks, Geno Smith's garbage time touchdown possibly cost me a playoff spot. It actually didn't, but it was really, really close. What are the Seahawks going to offer him to stay this offseason?
Well, my condolences for your almost loss. Almost loss. I would say probably like 18 to 22 mil over 2, maybe 3 years tops, but I don't think it's going to be something crazy. Geno's had his warts this year too. Like Geno is kind of who we thought he was at times. Like he's played well, but he's also been Geno Smith.
Adam, Steelers, is Kenny Pickett going to get Rosened?
No. Next question.
All right, good. Man. I really, really hope not. Justin, Texans, is Rex Burkhead going to win people's championship this year? If not, which Houston running back will it be if Pierce is out?
It has to be Rex Burkhead. He just never goes away. He's going to be around forever. Somehow he's going to have a big score or do something where he's going to win a couple teams championships as a random flex play or RB2. He's just going to do something, some 60-yard screen pass that ends up making the difference. You know what's coming.
Yeah, we talked about that. The next question was about Chig. We already talked about that. So, Adam, Vikings, you should be trading for Ty Chandler right now. True or false?
I'm going to say false. If you want to go ahead and get him thrown into the deal as a freebie, sure. But I like Ty Chandler, like the talent, but I'm not going to go advocate for someone buying him. I can't do that.
All right. We got 2 more segments real fast. I know you guys got to get out of here. So these are Mighty McGlynn home league trades. These are the leagues that I commission. 12-team dynasty, superflex, PPR, tight end premium, 0.75, 12 starters, 10 starters, and then 20 bench spots with no position limits. Pretty much normal scoring with bonuses on long plays, first downs, stuff like that. Number 1, Kenny Pickett for a mid-24 first.
I'll say Kenny Pickett.
Pickett.
Okay, good.
I'm on Pickett. So
$365 fab for 23 fifths.
It's about right.
Give me the fab.
That's about right. Mike and I did end up making that deal. I made him pay another fourth, but I did 2 fourths for like $900. So yeah, I like it.
Corey Davis for a 24 fifth.
Corey Davis. I just don't want fists. Fists are too much. They're too far out. I don't care.
They're really nothing, man.
And I like Corey Davis. I don't understand why people. I got this is my trade. I got Corey Davis for a 24 fifth.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Ramadre for David Bell, Trey McBride, and Sky Moore.
Package. Well, before the injury, I would have taken Ramadre. With the injury, I'll take the package.
We don't know how bad the injury is, though. So
yeah, but it's enough to just make that backfield possibly muddied again.
Yeah, I'm packaged unless you absolutely are desperate for.
I'll take Ramondre. I'll be the dissenting voice. I want
Ramondre.
I like the Rhino.
Hunter Henry. This is a tight end premium. Hunter Henry or Colt McCoy, possibly starting next year until the bye week in a superflex dynasty league, obviously. But
Hunter Henry, Colt McCoy's god awful too.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and dissent as well though, because if I'm a contending team and like a superflex with 2 quarterback in best ball, I can see it on Henry, but Colt McCoy might actually help you if you're desperate a few weeks. So I'll take McCoy.
JT.
I'm probably actually leaning slightly more McCoy just because of that reason.
Yeah, exactly. It's a super fight. Hunter Henry doesn't do shit this whole fucking year, so it is what it is. I'm going the McCoy side just because it's good to have a backup quarterback in superflex. I'm not sure what Henry's future is going to be either. People thought he was going to be the savior of that franchise when he got signed there. it was he was everybody's Twitter darling favorite guy. But Hollywood Brown and Darius Slayton for a 24 first, middle of the road 24 first.
I'll take the first.
First by a long shot.
Yep.
Yeah, I was offered Hollywood Brown and Isaiah Pacheco for the same middle of the road first, and I'm like, I just I don't know. It was tough. That was a little bit closer than Darius Slayton, but
yeah,
still I just couldn't pull a trigger. I better just keep the 24 first. So those are all home league trades. I just like to add them every week to see just kind of what we're doing here. So what we do is we evaluate a team every week. We'll do this real fast. These are the same 12-team Dynasty Superflex, all the rules we just talked about. So this is Joe Castleman's team on Sleeper. I'm going to share it with the audience here and everybody else to see. So let's share my screen. And here is the team. All right. It's starting quarterback Russell Wilson, Kareem Hunt, Damian Pierce as the running backs, Brandon Ayuk, Jalen Waddle, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Akins is tight end. Some of these are his lineup's not adjusted yet because of buys and stuff. Adam Thielen, D-Hop, Brock Purdy is the second quarterback here. He's got Case Keenum, Teddy Bridgewater, and Justin Fields is on the bench. Desmond Ridder, Marlon Mack, Dontrell Hilliard, David Montgomery, he's a Bears fan, Tyler Algier, Kyron Williams, Isaiah Spiller, Devontae Parker, Cedric Wilson, Denzel Mims, Tutu Atwell, Kadarius Toney, John Mechie, O.J. Howard, Cole Kmet, and on his IR, he's got Tylen Wallace, Khalil Herbert, Dwayne Eskridge, and Wandell Robinson. So I sent this team to you a couple days ago. Kind of this guy did not make the playoffs. Okay, if you have this team, what are you doing? He's got all his picks too. He's got all of his picks where he's at. So he's middle of the road. He's in the draft lottery, so you never really know about the first round pick. But he's going to be probably 5 or 6 in the league, depending, because his team is actually pretty good. It's a decent team. What are you doing for this team to improve this team going forward? What moves did you make to make this team better? Or what would you just say? Fuck it, I'm going to start selling some of these guys off. Or are you going to say, man, I'm going to sell these picks away to get a couple more players? What are you doing with this team? Adam, why don't you go first?
Okay, I'll tell you this one. Like when I first saw it, and as you're reading through it, right? So you got Fields, you got Ridder, you have Russell Wilson, right? Russell Wilson, as much as you probably don't like him, what we've seen, he's going to be there. Him and Fields to me is actually is solid. You look at the receivers, Jefferson and Waddle are really nice. And then you look at like Thielen, Hopkins, Kareem Hunt, right? Those are the assets where as soon as this summer starts, which starts in the winter, right? As soon as the season's over, those assets are going to go close to zero. Nobody wants to get older in that time of year. Honestly, for me, this is one of these teams where you want to pick a direction, but if you're going to decide to rebuild, you can't do it until the season starts where these guys pick up value, unless you can trade right now. If you've already hit the trade deadline, you can't do that. I think with this team, as much as I normally don't like to do this, I think you wait it out this summer. You trade as much value as you can throughout the summer, and then you see what your team has this year. You have all your picks. If you're able to make a contending move as the deadline's approaching, you're actually going to make the playoffs, go contend. I think you pick your direction in a lineup league like this, 6, 8, 10 weeks into the year when you see what you have. But what I'm not going to do is sell Thielen, Nuke, and Kareem Hunt for dog shit nothing in January, February, anytime this summer.
Yeah, it's terrible. This guy doesn't like to trade either, so don't worry about that problem, because you have to send him like gold for garbage in order to pry anything away from him. So he's going to sit tight. He's like a bug in a rug. He's a tick. So he does not, unless you send him a great trade, he's not sending anything over. JT, what do you think about this team?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at this team on the surface.
Mike, we'll switch to you real fast because JT froze again.
I'll say this: if he doesn't have a trade deadline, like I would definitely be shopping the piss out of these guys right now, trying to sell anybody on DeAndre Hopkins, Thielen. Can I interest you in a Kareem Hunt? Just take them off my hands, please. Let me re-roll for next year. If there's already a trade deadline and it's passed, Adam hit it on the head, man. You got to ride these guys out. If you do want to sell, you got to wait till we get to redraft season next year around August before like any of these guys will start picking up value. You do have a nice core in Justin Jefferson, Jalen Waddle, Justin Fields. Like that's a nice nice group of players to kind of build around. The way I dynasty, I'll shop any of them. If anyone wants to give me a Godfather offer in a package, especially around draft time, where I can go into like some younger pieces who may ascend in value a little bit more. But that's it, man. Other than that, this is one of those teams where if I had it about 3-4 weeks ago when it kind of wasn't looking good for me to make the playoffs, I would have been shopping, D-Hop. I would have been shopping David Montgomery, any of these guys. Please just take them off. I'm not winning. I'm not making the playoffs this year. It's not looking good, and these guys are all about to go to 0 or close to 0 pretty soon.
The good thing is he's probably going to get 111 or 113 or 213 depending on this league scoring, and add an extra pick to this. But yeah, he's got some shopping to do. JT, real fast. These guys got to go like 3 minutes ago. So
yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I'm sorry, my internet's been spotty all day. No, this team I don't think is that many pieces away from actually being a decent team. So I think if you could draft well. You take a look at it, see if you get some guys to play, and then, like they said, move some of those older guys later in the year once they have more value if you can. But this team's not that far off. I really think you get a decent first and second round pick, kind of spit in there and hope that Russell Wilson has if Russell Wilson has a comeback here, this team all of a sudden is competing.
All right, Mike, thanks for coming on today. See yourself out. Kind of everybody can find you. Give them the business again, how Iowa Mike's awesome and where they can find you at.
Well, you can find me on Twitter at Iowa Michael down there. Boom, name right below there. Come over to our YouTube page sometime. Check it out, South Harmon Fantasy Football. We do got the Patreon, patreon.com/South Harmon. You can be a shithead with us, talking in the Discord. We're always chopping it up in there, doing a lot of cool stuff. We have a pretty big YouTube giveaway for when we hit 1,000. Never thought I'd be in this position, but this is what ride that Adam and I are on. When we get 1,000, we're giving away some signed autographed jerseys of some up-and-coming players, and one of our favorites in DeAndre Swift. And as always, for free on Fridays, check out Destination Devy wherever you get your podcast. Fridays, 4DChess Dynasty Football comes out.
I'll go around the clock. JT Orange, see your way out.
Yep, thanks, guys. Kept me at JT Orange at Twitter. Just hit me up with any questions on trades, anything like that. I'll chat you up, or find me in the Dynasty Theory Discord at JT Orange.
Adam?
Yeah, ATM 4DChess on Twitter. Mike already kind of touched on all the other stuff that we have, and I have to piss so bad. I'm just trying to make it out of here.
You guys got a show to do. Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. You guys were awesome today. Thanks for making the Commissioner Evaluation Show awesome. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us on, man. Appreciate
it,
John.
Awesome. We got to chop it up again sometime, man. This was great.
If you need a guy, I'm always available too, man. Have a good one, guys.
Thanks, John. Appreciate you having us on, man.
Thank you.
McGlynn is in. I repeat, McGlynn is in. Let the fun begin. This is the Commissioner Evaluation Podcast with your host, John McGlynn.
Was that Herms?
He got them guests on the Rolodex, stopping by to talk about some Dynasty Superflex. Everybody, commish is in. It's time to sit down to listen to John McGlynn. Yo, who we trading, who we fading, who we getting off the squad. Knowledge never overrated, playing for number one. And yo, McGlynn is in. It's time to let the fun begin. It's the Commissioner Evaluation Podcast with John McGlynn.